You're watching Good Morning Kentucky with Lee Cruz, Haley Harmon, meteorologist Dylan Godet, and sports with Sarah Cardona. ABC 36, on your side.
Well, welcome back. It's Thursday, so that means it's time for Talking Kids with Dr. Caitlin. Lexington pediatrician Dr. Caitlin Iddings is with us this morning, as always.
Yes, and today we're talking about a disgusting topic, but an important one. We're talking about kids. No, we're talking about tick bites.
Oh, tick bites.
Yes, ticks
Lord.
coming out around this time in the spring and summer. Dr. Caitlin, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
So kids, disgusting, yay or nay?
Oh, yeah.
No. Okay, so tick season it is.
I'm trying to warn all the ticks out there.
Yeah, look out.
Don't bite them.
Don't bite the
dirty kiddos.
Those dirty kids.
Okay, what do you want parents to know?
Excuse us, Dylan
That was a
Godet.
huge tick that was on Dylan's back that
Talk
fell
about,
off.
speaking of parasites, there's Dylan Godet.
Yeah.
But these are dangerous little arachnids.
Yeah. So luckily in Kentucky, so there's really two main different kinds of ticks. There's dog ticks and deer ticks. And the dog ticks are the bigger ones that we have here in the central Kentucky area.
Okay.
The deer ticks are these little tiny ones that are about the size of a poppy seed. And those are the ones that can transmit Lyme disease. So we don't have a lot of Lyme here in Kentucky, but we have other things that dog ticks can carry, like Rocky Mountain spotted fever. But the gist of it is the smaller the tick, the less likely you are to see it, right?
Yeah.
And so if you find a really big tick on your child, the likelihood of it being a disease-carrying one is a little bit less. Or if you find like a little bitty tiny baby, they usually haven't had a chance to, have a bloodbath yet to be able to get the disease and then pass it on.
Okay.
But the little ones are the ones we tend to miss, right? So it's important with your kids, if they're outside playing, because spring is when the nymphs, which are kind of the teenage ticks, come out. Those are the ones that are more likely to carry disease and be missed. That you're kind of doing a head-to-toe check. Oh, let's just check you over. Let's make sure we're not missing anything, because the longer the tick is on you, the more likely they are to transmit disease. So if you get it off within the first 24 hours, the likelihood of getting disease from a tick is very low.
Okay, I was going to ask, what's the window when you're trying to
So usually, 24 to 36 hours, you should be safe. If it's over 36 to 48 hours and you can tell that the tick is really big and engorged, like it's already kind of eaten off of you, then that is more likely that you will end up with disease.
That's disgusting.
Oh, no, it's so gross.
What are the symptoms similar with Lyme disease and Rocky Mountain spotted?
So all of the tick-borne illnesses are usually going to come with fevers. Rash is really the hallmark of most of them.
Okay.
And they're more common to happen kind of in the late spring, early summer, because most of the ticks that can carry these diseases are sort of feasting in the early spring, which is kind of right now. So usually 7 to 30 days after being bitten is when you would start to develop symptoms. So it's important to know, oh, well, we were down at Grandpa's house and hiking in the woods, and you may not ever have even seen the tick on your child, but if they break out in this rash and they've had this fever, and you're like, wow, what is going on? That's something to keep in the back of your mind.
Okay, that may be the cause. Okay, let's talk about proper removal. What's the best way? If a tick, if it's just crawling on you, get that sucker off.
Yeah.
But if it's attached, what's the best way to actually remove it?
So the best way is to try to get some very fine tweezers. You don't want to pull it like straight up like this. You want to kind of hold the tweezers at the side, get as very close to the skin as you can, so you can try to get that head, and then you want to pull straight up. You don't want to twist, because that can actually break the head off. You just want to pull straight pressure, straight up. There's all these old wives' tales like, oh, put Vaseline on it, burn it with a match.
That's what they did with me, was a cigarette lighter.
Yeah,
Watch him back out, they'd say.
Oh.
Usually that actually doesn't deter the tick or make it let go. You have to actually apply that pressure and pull up.
Okay.
That's just going to cause it to be on there longer. And like I said, the point is to get it off as quick as possible. If you don't have tweezers, I mean, you can use your fingers. Like I said, you just want to try to get as close to the base as possible and pull straight up. If you look and you think, oh, there's maybe a little bit of the head left in there, usually just taking rubbing alcohol and sort of rubbing it, because they don't really bite that deep. Like, their mouth parts aren't that big.
Okay.
So a lot of parents will come and like, oh, I think the head's still in there because there's a little bump. It's going to be common for there to be a little red bump, because they kind of inject you with that numbing stuff so you don't feel it, so you can get a little localized reaction. That's normal.
Okay.
Usually that'll be there for a couple days. It might scab over if it bled and be there for up to a week, but it shouldn't be like spreading redness or kind of that bullseye appearance. If you see anything like that, you should get your kid
Now,
checked.
while I got you here, go ahead and take a look. What do you see in there? Anything?
Oh, dear.
And that is important. I mean, the scalp is a very important place to check. I think parents kind of look on the body and they forget, like, oh, well, it could be in the scalp. I mean, they like to kind of get there and hide, so yeah.
Okay, some good advice there for sure. It is tick season, friends. Stay with us. We're back in just a moment.